Hello guys, in today's video we're going to be making a desert terrarium, and we have everything we need right before us. What we have right now is soil, aquarium sand, aquarium gravel, a wire screen mesh, a bunch of plants, so cactuses and succulents, a water bowl for a mini oasis, and some stones that are going to act as accent features. And if you guys like these terrarium build kind of videos, please like, subscribe, and comment to let me know if I should do more of these kind of videos. So let's get started. Before we start, I thought I should give a look at the enclosure we're going to be using to build this terrarium. And as you can see, it is a 10-gallon tank. Over here we have the aquarium gravel, which I'm going to be adding first to the tank. And right next to it, we have all my pet supplies and my pet axolotl Lux. He's chilling in his cave right now, so you can't see him. But he's not important for this video. So we're going to be adding some of the gravel in now. And by some, I mean all the gravel. We're doing this so we can create a false bottom, so excess water and moisture can leave. And this will allow the cactuses to thrive, because too much moisture is bad for cacti. So I'm going to be spreading out the gravel now and adding more, since I want a nice drainage layer on the bottom. So see you soon. Okay guys, so I finished adding about 2 bags of gravel. So this means 3 inches of substrate or false bottom for this tank. And I also finished cutting out the wire mesh screen. And this is going to be extremely important for the false bottom, because this allows moisture to come through, but it also prevents other nasty things from coming through, like the soil and stuff, because we don't want the soil to be wet all the time, because then you can get root rot and other things that can be detrimental to your plants. So a false bottom is always a good idea when you're building a terrarium like this, because 1, it helps keeps the humidity a bit lower. 2, it allows excess water to, I guess you can say, drain out, preventing the plants from receiving too much water, because if the roots or the plant gets too much water, it can be extremely bad for cacti. So now I'm going to be adding this wire screen mesh and putting it into the false bottom, allowing the soil layer and gravel layer to be truly separate. I just wanted to quickly film what it looks like when you put the wire screen mesh into the false bottom. And you can see that in order to put the wire screen mesh into the false bottom properly, I added some gravel on top of the wire screen mesh to help weigh it down, so that the soil doesn't get mixed with the gravel layer, because then it will be a mess to clean up and try to make separate layers, and we don't like that. So always put some gravel on top of the wire screen mesh to prevent the layers from mixing and to help keep that wire screen mesh in place. Okay, so I finished adding the soil layer, and as you can see, on some points I added about 6 inches of substrate, and at others it's about 3 to 4 inches. And I also put the water bowl in to make a sort of oasis, so I thought it would look cool. As you can see over here, some dirt got in, but that's fine. No plants are actually going to be put in here, so this is just going to be like a mini pond to be surrounded by plants. I thought it would look cool. And the soil is not even, because I want it to look kind of like a desert landscape, so it's rough at all places that has slopes and stuff. So I'm going to be adding the cactuses now. I'm not going to actually film me adding these cactuses, because I'm pretty sure you guys know how to add cactuses. All you have to do is pretty much, I guess you can say, try not to get yourself pricked by their spines. Pull them out, get the soil off, expose the roots, plant the cactuses into the soil over here, and kind of be careful while doing it. You don't want to expose or hurt the roots too much, because if you do that, then the plant dies, and nobody likes that. So be gentle with the plants you're putting in here. For me, I'm going to be putting in cactuses, so I'm going to try to be as gentle as I can, and expose the roots, and gently put them in. And I'm going to film what it looks like after I add all the plants. Now that the cactuses have been added to the terrarium, you can see the kind of design that I was going for. The smaller cactuses are in the front, and the taller cactuses are in the back. And the succulent is in the corner. And all these plants are surrounding the oasis that is going to be filled with water soon. So the next step of this terrarium build is to add another layer of gravel. And this is to prevent the gravel from bubbling into the sand layer I'm going to be adding. I mean the soil from bubbling into the sand layer. Because what happens when you add this soil and then put sand on top of it is when you pour water onto the sand, I guess you can say, the soil underneath the sand starts to bubble, and it kind of mixes into the sand layer, and that makes it not neat and not pretty. So we're going to be adding first a gravel layer and then the aquarium sand. And after all these steps, the terrarium will finally be complete. So I finally finished adding the gravel, and now the cactus terrarium is starting to look filled, and it's starting to look pretty good. This desert terrarium is starting to have some character. The slopes I was talking about are a lot more visible now, since the rocks allow you to see the curves and the corners this enclosure has. And I also added some gravel in the center of the mini oasis I'm making, just to make it look like the pond has some rocks on the bottom so it can be thriving. And now I'm going to be adding the sand layer. And the sand I got is blue, so it's not going to be an authentic desertscape, but I think it's still going to look really cool, because these green plants are going to really pop out against that neon blue sand I got. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to be adding the aquarium sand now, and this is going to be the final step to our terrarium build. The aquarium sand has finally been added to this terrarium, and finally it looks like a desert. Sure, the sand is not the typical color you see in the desert, which is red, but I think the blue sand adds a very good, colorful vibe to this aquarium. I also added some rocks I found outside to look like mini boulders, and I think it looks really nice. I'm going to be adding some water to this oasis and watering the cactuses, but the desert terrarium is complete. You can look at it from the inside. The boulders here nicely complement the cacti over here. And over here we have the nice succulent and a mini boulder over here. And the sand and the gravel are exposed, allowing it to look like the wind is blowing across this desert right now, causing slopes to form and causing some rocks to be uncovered from the sand. So yeah, this is the desert terrarium build, and I hope you guys like this. Thank you, and please subscribe to the channel. Bye.